Hey, this is Matt Cross from Alpha Male Secrets, and welcome to today's coaching video. And the topic for today's coaching video is how to control the frame, right? Controlling the frame and understanding that people will only act as good as they need to, period, okay, period. If you want to be treated like a king, guess what? You must act like a king. Most guys want to be treated like a king, yet they do not act like a king. They act like a peasant. And then they wonder why people treat them as such, why people treat them as a peasant. They're just treating you as you project yourself, okay? Because one thing I teach my self-development students is perception is everything. For example, if you dress like a police officer, people will treat you like a police officer. If you dress like a businessman, people will treat you like a businessman. If you dress up in a nice suit, nice shoes, right? Briefcase, people think you're a businessman. If you dress up like a homeless guy, guess what? People are going to treat you like a homeless guy. So it's no different. If you want to be treated like a king, you must act like a king. Okay? Because people are wired. We are all hardwired to only act as good as we need to. Right? We're only going to act as good as we need to in order to get by. It's very important when you are in any social situation that you are the one controlling the frame, especially if you're a student of mine. I want you controlling the frame, because in every social situation, whenever there's more than one person, there's always going to be a leader, okay? There's always going to be somebody who has higher value than the others, okay? Say it's just two people, say it's you and your buddy. One of you is always going to have higher value. That's just the way it is. And generally, the way it works is, what I teach my self-development students is, the person who tends to be more reactive tends to have lower social value, okay? So the person who reacts more generally has lower social value. If your wife or your partner is reacting to you more than you are reacting to her, then you have higher social value than she does. But unfortunately, in most marriages today, from what I see from most guys who were raised by single mothers, weak father figures, these guys in their marriages, the woman tends to have a lot more social value than they do. And the reason for that is because she is reacting less than her husband. Okay, her husband might be more worried about their marriage than she is. Her husband might be more worried that she might be cheating on him, that she might leave him, and all this other stuff. So obviously he's going to have lower social value than she does. And guess what? She's going to be able to control the frame in that relationship, and she is only going to act as good as she needs to, okay? And if she's in that position where she knows that, she's got you wrapped around her finger, and she knows that you're not going to leave that relationship, then, a lot of bad things can happen. So in every single social situation, I want to make sure that, I'm the one who's controlling the frame, okay? Just as you should be the one controlling the frame. The other person should be reacting to you more than you are reacting to them, okay? Unless they are on a much higher social level than you are. I have mentors of mine where, I don't need to control the frame. They're on a higher plank than I am. They have more knowledge than I do, knowledge that I want to learn, and I'm willing to push, my ego aside to learn from them. So you have to understand, where your place is socially, where your place is in society right now. And if you haven't had much self-development training, then obviously you're going to need mentors. You're going to need to find guys who can teach you, who are more knowledgeable than you, and just kind of push your ego aside and say, hey man, teach me what you know, and you control the frame. You tell me what you know, and I will just listen. I will just react. I will just be a sponge who takes your information and goes out there and applies it, right? So in those situations where you're still kind of wet behind the ears and you're still kind of learning, right? You might be young, or you might not have had this training ever before, or like I said, you might have been raised by a single mother or weak father figure. You're going to need to seek out mentors. Might be a mentor like me where you can learn from me. I've read thousands and thousands of books on self-development. I studied business and psychology in school, so I have a great wealth of knowledge when it comes to this stuff. I'm very self-aware. I have deep self-awareness, and I'm very conscious of who I am and where I'm at in life, which unfortunately most guys are not. One big thing that I teach all of my students is to be non-reactive. Okay, this is a big secret in pickup as well, as far as picking up very, very beautiful, young, hot women, is learning how to be non-reactive. Say the girl shit tests you, say she makes a derogatory comment about you, say she tells you you're ugly or you're fat or you're short, she tells you any of that stuff. What do most guys do? Most guys will immediately react, right? They'll get emotional. They'll like get emotional almost like a woman, and they'll react, and they might try to cut the girl down. And I'm not saying that a girl who says and does things like that isn't deserving of being cut down, but you have to realize where that's coming from, and you have to realize that you're not this isolated incident where you're the only one in her entire life that she felt like cutting down, because generally a person like that has cut down many other guys as well. You're just the next one in line, right? So you have to understand that. But one of the key secrets I teach students for picking up very, very young, attractive women is being non-reactive. By the way, I get that too. I get girls all the time trying to cut me down. Like, oh, you're this, oh, you're that, oh, look at your hair, oh, look at your shirt, oh, look at your shoes, right? Always doing that. And I'm able to respond to the girl, not react, but respond to her in a way that builds attraction, okay? And the reason why it builds attraction is because I'm not responding in a way that is reactive, okay? I'm responding in a way that shows her that she's on a lower social level than I am. So I'm not gonna get too much into a pickup lesson here. If you wanna learn about pickup and game, go to my 33 Secrets YouTube channel. Right, I'll teach you all about pickup and how to pick up beautiful women in 8s, 9s, and 10s. But for the purpose of this coaching lesson, you want to train yourself to start becoming non-reactive in life. Somebody makes fun of you, somebody wants to take a shot at you, you have to realize where that's coming from. The reason why they are reacting to you is because you're doing something or displaying something that is threatening to them, okay? That is threatening their view of the world. That is threatening this bubble of the world that they created for themselves. So you're doing something or displaying something that is causing their world to not make sense anymore. So they actually get threatened by that, and they immediately lash out by trying to cut you down. And it's very, very pathetic and weak. Generally, people who do that, again, have low self-esteem and are very insecure themselves. And these are also the same type of people where if you were to cut them down, they would immediately react like, what? Who do you think you're talking to? Even though that's what they do themselves. Personally, for me, I don't do those things. I just don't do that. I don't have a need to. And generally, I don't know, people like to do these things in groups too, because they have that mob mentality. They feel like braver when they're around their boys or their friends, but they would never do these things when they're alone, which really is the true definition of a complete pussy. Because I would have way more respect for these guys if it was like one guy sitting in by himself who like yelled out something derogatory, like, hey, camera boy, and I turn around and he's by himself. I would be like, wow, respect, because you don't know if I just turn around and shoot you. What if I'm crazy? I used to have a student, right, when he first started out with me, he said his ex-girlfriend used to like to go clubbing every weekend, and it bothered him. He hated it, right? Every Friday, Saturday night, this guy's girlfriend was always at the club, right? And I know a lot of young guys like this, where their girlfriend, every single weekend, their girlfriends are out at the club, right? And these guys will rationalize to themselves like, yeah, I trust her. Yeah, she's just with her girlfriends having fun. By the way, no, she's not. So, the student of mine, his girlfriend liked to always go clubbing on the weekend, but he hated it, right? Every Friday, Saturday night, this chick had to be out at the club, and he hated it. He put up with it. He asked me at one point, he said, hey, my girlfriend's always going clubbing every Friday and Saturday night. Like, why does she do that? Like, well, because you put up with it, because you let her. That's why she does that. Hello, right? Again, people will act as good as they need to. Like, because you put up with it, she goes clubbing every Friday and Saturday night. But guess what? If you don't put up with it, she'll stop going clubbing every Friday and Saturday night. So he tried to put his foot down. Right? Tried to put his foot down, and she was like, no, I'm gonna keep clubbing, right? Why? You can't stop me. You're not my father. You can't tell me what to do. But he was like, hey, we're in this relationship together. We're in this relationship together. You're supposed to be my girlfriend. I don't like you out at the club Friday, Saturday night, getting felt up by all these horny guys. Right? Why do you need to do that? And so she had been doing this throughout their entire relationship, to the point where she wasn't gonna stop, okay? Because when these things happen, as I teach all my self-development students, whenever somebody crosses the line, you have to nip that right in the bud, right when it happens. The second it happens, you have to nip it in the bud. And he didn't do that. And they were together for close to a year and a half when he asked her to stop clubbing. And she's like, well, no, why should I stop now? That's what I do every Friday, Saturday night. I go clubbing. I'm not gonna stop, right? And I don't blame her because he put up with it this entire time. So she's already used to that behavior. But what I told him to do, you know, just to kind of let her know that, hey, this behavior is not okay with him. He had this friend who was a pretty cute girl, this cute Mexican girl. Her name was Sandy. He had this friend named Sandy that his girlfriend hated. His girlfriend hated Sandy. He was like, I don't want you hanging out with Sandy, you know, because I know Sandy likes you, and I don't want you hanging out with Sandy. So he didn't hang out with Sandy. Yet, she can go to the clubs Friday and Saturday nights. So what he started doing while she was at the club on Friday, Saturday nights is he started going out with Sandy. When she wasn't around Friday, Saturday night, he just went out with Sandy. They'd like go to dinner, they would go to movies, and it got to the point where she was like, hey, I want you to stop seeing Sandy. You know, I want you to stop being friends with her. And he was like, no, why should I? I was friends with Sandy before I met you. So what eventually ended up happening, just to make a long story short, is she didn't stop going clubbing completely, but she stopped going every weekend. Okay, it got to the point where she was only going maybe like once a month just to satisfy her girlfriends, right? Just to satisfy her girlfriend, she would go once a month. But the rest of the time, every weekend, she was home with my student because she didn't like the fact that he was going out with this other girl who could potentially take him away from her, a cute girl. So by him bringing this other girl into the picture, Sandy, right? She started treating him better. She started acting as good as she needed to keep him. So, and of course she threatened to leave him. She was like, oh, you know, if you don't stop talking to this girl, I don't want to see you anymore. And because he had enough training from me at this point, I told him, I'm like, as long as you keep talking to this girl, Sandy, I guarantee, I promise you, she's not gonna leave you. I told him, I promise you, she's not gonna leave you. She didn't leave. She just became more attracted to him and started doing exactly what he wanted. And it ended up getting to the point where he ended up dumping her. Okay, this is my student. He ended up dumping her, this girl that he was crazy about, just because he started to get bitter of the fact that she was taking advantage of him, that she took advantage of him throughout their entire relationship going to these nightclubs. But again, I brought it back to him. I said, hey, whose fault was this? Whose fault? It was your fault because you let her get away with it. You put up with it. So again, people will act as good as they need to. It is your responsibility to control the frame in every single relationship you have, whether it's a girlfriend, a wife, business partner, co-worker, friend, family member. It is up to you to control the frame because people will act as good as they need to. And really, the secret to controlling the frame in any relationship, the secret and the simplest and easiest and fastest way to do it is to always be less reactive than the person that you are in that relationship with, okay? Always be less reactive than they are. And as long as you are constantly less reactive than they are, and they are reacting to you more than you are reacting to them, you will always have higher social value than they do, which means you will always have control of the frame. Okay, you will always have control of the frame. And again, like I said, there are going to be situations where you're going to meet guys and you're going to need mentors and whatnot to teach you things, to help you grow, to help you gain more knowledge, where they're just going to have more social value than you. And you are going to react more to them because you're going to be learning from them and taking their information and applying it out in the world. But that's okay, because that is a win-win relationship. So that's all I have to say for today's coaching video. Until next time, this is Matt Cross from Alpha Male Secrets, signing out from Las Vegas, Nevada.